Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Hardspace Shipbreaker. As we're continuing on, we're into the experimental phase. No more certification, no more upgrades, no more teachers, no more books. We were, I guess I could translate a couple of those things. Okay, cool. So, something that I found interesting is, we're experimenting with this. I was doing it on hard. I wonder, because it affects the work order, but I wonder if the hard or very hard affects the contents of the ship as well. Not really, it doesn't really affect the value, does it? Okay, no, we already sort of figured this out. Okay, we're gonna do this, the Saucy Pacifica. Alright, so we've got two things that we want to try out, right? One, I'm playing with the idea of trying to speed pull the core, right? And then we've also got that front corner junction I want to fiddle with too. I remembered. So I'm going to go gangbusters. We're going to go straight up the guts and see if we can cut the cargo door on the roof for explosive decompression. And pull the core out. We're going to just try and yank the core on the system that we sort of came up with previously really fast. Jesus. Well, hang on. Alright, so this is the door here. Alright, so that's salvage cargo hatch. Oh, they wanted me to do the cargo hatch, whatever. Alright, hang on. Oh. Okay, cool. Well, because it wasn't oxygenated, it's not going to blow out. Oh, and pushing it in was a bloody terrible idea as well. Okay, we're off to a fucking shit start. Get out of there. Alright, but anyway, okay, it's not that bad a cut though, overall. Alright, so the idea would be, grab that to there, grab that to there, gotta move this bloody computer, fuck off. Quick cut.
Reactor meltdown.
Come on.
Urgent action required.
What are you stuck on? What are you stuck on? It's gonna cut line of sight. You fuck. Oh my god, all this shit in my line of sight. So hang on, how come you turn so savagely in the... It's like the... Must have to do with how I pulled. Yeah, why are you turning? That's really strange. Oh, there goes the airlock. That's a little frustrating if I'm being honest. We just got to be careful with that first initial tether, because it twisted in the barrel. Wait, what are you doing? I said go in the barge. Oh great. Okay, it went in. That's fine.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
That's right, the experiment continues. But the real juicy thing, the real juicy thing is that we discovered that there's a corner section here. See this? You can see it's sort of like triangular. Alright? You can see the two little faint lines. So if we cut that, if we were to cut that, this whole front section disconnects, I think. Maybe not. Okay. Bugger. I thought we were onto something. Well, now we need to go in and inspect it. To be honest, I don't want to mess with that too much more. I want to see it from the reverse side. Made a bit of a dog's breakfast out of that. That's a shame that it twisted in the barrel. Wait, hang on a sec. Oh, no. Of course it twisted. Yeah. It's just... No. It's alright, we'll keep practicing on that. Because I think we're onto something. This is the interesting thing. Why haven't you come apart? Because if you refer back to the previous episode... I'm just sort of seeing that little gap there. Now let's attempt this. See, oh man, I know I'm not imagining things. You can see the gaps. You can even when you highlight it. So we've got a gap there. Right, well that's because I disconnected that there. That's interesting. That's twisted. See what I mean? This whole side panel's come away now. Right, we just disconnected this center bit. That's all we did then, was cut that off. So, like, highly implied, get rid of this thing. All of this wasn't attached. So I'm onto something. I still stand by this. The only thing holding it in place was the corner thing, which I would also argue is not necessarily true either. This thing was literally gripped on by friction. Like even, okay, so this corner part under here. Does that pull away? No, so wait, that's technically part of that panel. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Let's look on the reverse side here. Oh, well there we go, okay. So it is a separate part. Okay, so you can pull that whole little part out, right? Now, apart from the fact that right, so that whole supported panel came out on its own, right, but it's also attached to the center. That's interesting. There's another one of these little parts there, right? But where is it on this? Did that break free already, or? No, hang on. There it is there. That's still attached. Okay, so that's just magically attached. Is that what I'm to take away from there? That's sort of super glued on. I need to know. I need to know. See, that's interesting again. That's its own section. Alright. Okay, there we go. Now this is what I'm getting at the core of it, right? Definitively. Some things are friction stuck together and some things are just super glued together. See this piece now? There is literally nothing. There is nothing holding that together onto this piece. There's nothing. It's magic. Right? So say we go to the reverse side one. Which is here. And we give it just enough juice to kill it. What the fuck just happened then? Did part of it magically come out, but it's still there?
Object accepted.
Alright, now if I cut that away,
Credits deposited.
the whole thing comes away. So there you go. So if you damage that item, the whole thing will come away. Now to what end? To what end? This is interesting. To what extent, right? Not to what end. My end is not clear just yet. So here you go. So if I hypothetically, even though this thing is super glued hard up against, if I were to hypothetically cut this tiny little fucking circumcision foreskin snippet off the here, does the whole thing now come off? Perfect. That's what I thought. How crazy is that? So that's why I'm gonna oxygenate. Oh, I'm so excited about what we're figuring out here. So that obviously is in-game rules of the system versus, you know, when people talk about friction and motion and all that in this game and how it doesn't really behave, yeah, because it has its own underlying rule set governing it. So what have we learnt? These little supporting bars, you can cut a tiny amount and they will immediately release from things that they would otherwise be super glued to. Now, has this allowed the rest of, well, it's going to be hard to tell because it's all attached internally to the ship. But like, if this was the other side without the cockpit component, is this now free? The bottom panel probably is, if we disconnect. Actually, what if I disconnect here? And funnily enough, the one thing that we never cut, if I pull this part, will that whole bottom quarter sort of come away? Maybe not. No. Not interested. Yeah, so that's interesting. So there's things, it's like super friction or that whatever. I don't know what you would call it. But there are things that sort of, unless you disconnect X, then count this as hard stuck together for all time, sort of thing. Alright. So this should come away now. That gap is interesting, isn't it? What is holding this on? Nothing. Apart from, like I said, the friction squeeze that you get. Huh. That's very fascinating. Maybe something here. Right. So those sort of two little corner prongs, interesting. I'm pretty convinced that if we go in next time and we attack those, just enough to cut it, just enough to damage it, that will free up a big chunk of the ship. This is really cool learning. It's almost like glue, to be honest. Those little strips are almost like glue. Apart from the fact that if you cut a tiny corner off of the little strip, the entire strip now comes away, but you can never pull it away any other time, you know? So we're really interrogating how the ship works, because as we've seen before, people have seen, you cut some of those internal struts and the thing springs apart. It's like there are sections that are friction gripped. They're not even held by a strut. There are things on either side of them held by struts, but there's sort of a friction holding them in together and they can't release, right? It would probably be safe to assume that anything without one of those grabby struts on the ship was then friction held in place. That's what I've assumed for 100 episodes. Well, it's probably more if you consider that I did some split episodes, but anyway. But that's not the case. There are glued sections that defy those rules, and no matter what, unless you actually remove them with damage, they will not let go of their adjoining thing. And they're not, and you would probably think that they should be colored as some sort of strut or something, right? So that's cool, peeling back and seeing some other rules that are at play that we didn't really know about. Very curious stuff indeed. Actually, yeah. Anyway, so I know we're on the money runs and that sort of stuff, but this is all very fascinating. This is our room to experiment and that sort of stuff. We're still pulling the cores. We're still making, at least 3 million. Well, if we get the core out. The core rolling in the barrel was a bit shit, because obviously we're trying to create like a repeatable scenario. So that was a little bit poo that happened. But, I mean, practice makes perfect. We should be able to get to a point where I can put the tether on the exact same spot to the exact same spot on the door, and we should be able to create a repeatable tether scenario where it doesn't roll in the barrel. Yeah, so that's the other experiment we've got running as well. Anyway, I found that incredibly enlightening, looking at the structure of the nose of the ship, and we're going to continue to interrogate that on upcoming episodes, I say, and see what comes of it. Alright team, thanks again for joining me. We might just leave it there for the time being, and I will catch you guys on the next one.